Hello everyone. I'm here today. I'm going back and revisiting some of the steps I took while processing the world, particularly this area right now, and I'm going to go back over here to Michael Steinbacher, and I'm just going to let this play. I'm going to let him speak.
So it's really a mess, and it's electrical. An interesting image from Wiki Images, Wiki Maps. The yellow is sediment. I believe that's part of the flood. It was basically underwater, being moved around. The part that's not yellow, this area here, this circle right there, are mountains in a circular pattern. Within that circular pattern, which I think is a vortex, there are more vortices right here and right there. We'll get into those a little later. But what's kind of interesting, we were looking at Valles Marineris earlier, wall, seeing the shape of a galaxy. I see mountains coming up through Canada, curving to the left. They actually go through Alaska into Far East Russia, and then an arc of volcanic islands come down. Coming out of the south of this, you have mountains curving to the right. Oh, the Canadian Rockies are a little blip there. You got Baja here, kind of similar to the Canadian Rockies on the right-hand side of this. These mountains come down through Mexico, Central America, actually go through Colombia, Venezuela, with an arc of volcanic islands coming back into Mexico. It seems to look a little like a galaxy or a huge low-pressure area, like a giant hurricane. That shows the mountains going through, coming around, and back. Again, down, around, and back. Could be a coincidence, but in an electric universe, I picture Venus sitting over here as it bobs up and down, as Dr. Velikovsky thought. It would come in close, there'd be a discharge, it would release it, and it came back down during the plagues of Egypt, during Exodus. That's how he describes things. These are volcanic formations. They swing around here, they go up, come around, down. A lot of these volcanic formations have something in common. Missing volcanoes. The volcanoes have gone away. They've disappeared completely. The geologists are befuddled. They go out and look for them. They can't find them. They know they have to be there because there's basalt. What else could possibly heat dirt other than a volcano? Except in an electric universe with a river of fire, we now have another option for molten rock, heavy with iron, electromagnetically possibly pulling in iron from a dusty atmosphere. As a friend of mine points out, it's dusty plasma. So it's going to be affected by an electromagnetic event hovering over here, 10 to the 39th power, or a lot more than gravity. It could be pulling in dust as we interact with Comet Venus from thousands of miles, shaping it with a hurricane force wind and accumulating it in mountains. These are plutonics. This is granite and its cousins. It's interesting in that on the left side of this, there's a lot of granite. On the right side of this, there's a lot of granite. It seems like a mirror image. Oh, also, this is kind of interesting. This is the Sierras. It's a 400-mile-long pluton of solid granite, the largest pluton on the planet. Under the pluton of granite is sediment. The granite supposedly bubbled up from below. So how does sediment get in between that? There should be a tongue of granite going down to wherever the granite came from. So geologists have the Pacific plate shoving sediment underneath of the granite because they have to explain it. But if the granite came from the air, it would be sitting on top of the sediment that was there to start with. Now we come over to metamorphics. The Sierras have metamorphic rock, but not enough to show up on here dramatically. But the coastal range does, and you can see there's sort of a circle there. And then we have the Canadian Shield with Hudson's Bay in the middle. This is all flat. and it's all metamorphic. This might have something to do with that. Could be a positive, negative, negative, positive, I'm not sure. I'd like to have the EU folks sit around and drink and talk about this in the evening while I can listen. But it seems as if something happened over here. And I'll show later on that it seems to have been rapid and it seems to have been one event for all the mountains. And I don't want it to be that way. I'd like it to be simple and embraceable. But it's not. It looks like it was really a horrible thing with very few survivors. And in Worlds in Collision, the survivors thought they were the only ones. They come out of their cave. They were the only ones that made it. They don't know anybody else in the neighborhood for 100 miles. There's no communication. That's a recurring theme, a lot. It happens in Mexico. It happens a lot. This is on Highway 93 north of Las Vegas.
Alright, he does a lot more work. I'm not going to keep it throughout this, but I did want to show some of this because you can actually see there's something shaping this. And when he came back at the start, he was explaining a lot of these features that he saw on the larger scale, like right here, and shortly after. But going back to the Earth, I'm going to show you what I see when he was referring to this area in particular. And I like this because we have this reference back to this map. And these maps show things that you don't see when you look at just the Earth, but you can see different things. I still see the bowl-shaped magnetic field down here. I still see a jet forming that. And then this is really fascinating. This is in this region. This is prominent right down here, but very little throughout here. So when I'm looking at the map and I'm listening to him, and now when I see this, and I haven't been able to unsee this after I saw it, now you can see this come back around, but these jet inward, these jet directly inward, these jet directly inward, directly in this direction. And when you look at this right here, I don't see. Now, I've heard a lot of people explain different things that they see. He said he sees a vortex, and I kind of see that too, but really what I see is this right here. I see a low pressure area, there's a distinct band, and then I see the fractal branching downward. Only the difference being, primarily, these features are running across the surface of the Earth. Very distinctly, if you take this, let me get another one or a better one if there's a better one around here, something like this. Again, you see this low pressure, there's this distinct band, and these fractal branches down. You see the fractal branching down, and it carries on in this way a little bit. It shows up better on different maps, but it comes in from the ocean into these high point regions, or focus regions. There's low pressure here, because you're seeing charge from all of this being focused right here, and it's building up on this side. There's not a lot of resistance over here. It's low pressure. But the further you get into the land, there's more resistance. You got this distinct band, and then you get a jet. This was, and he's describing plasma. He's talking about the rivers of fire, like Velikovsky. I'd like it to be simple and embraceable too. But the point is, Michael Steinbacher saw one large event, and that's kind of what I'm seeing here. And it was very comforting seeing him see this. I don't know if Venus can do this myself. I'm wondering if Venus could have caused this, and that's where I had to look at other videos he made, more of his work, to see what else he had to offer to help me understand this. He made a bunch of videos where he describes like certain features around the world, whether it's the Rishat, South Africa, Namibia, Sinai. He does a lot, but in that video he described this band, which he went over to, you can see, he made reference to the Valles Marineris on Mars. You have this distinct, like, it's an infinity pattern, where it carries around this way on this side, but this side carries around this way, and that's what he was seeing in Earth, where this side carries around. Technically, this comes back up in here, but then there's also this jet down here, and this comes back over. But then there's also that jet back right down in here. See, shows up a little more prominently being on the seafloor on this map. And all this falls in line. Which, yeah, it makes it a little more disturbing when you think about it like that, instead of it all being simple and embraceable. But Michael Steinbacher, in one of his last interviews, let me go over here and show this. I will try to link both of these at the end. This was his last interview, I believe he did, and he told me to go, he told everyone, just go revisit Dr. Velikovsky's work. And that's what I did.
This
I went back and revisited Dr. Velikovsky's work to see if there was anything else I was missing while trying to interpret what might have caused these scars. I was just happy to find Michael Steinbacher because he actually sees this, in my opinion. He saw this as one event, and that's what I'm trying to figure that out. Why he saw this as one event, and I'll explain why I think he was on the right path, even if he didn't get a chance to fully see it for what it was while he was here with us. Alright, thank you, Michael Steinbacher. Thank you, everyone else. And I will talk to you more as this progresses. Alright, take care.